G'day, welcome to Royal Randwick Racecourse. I'm with Aaron Macey, the Sydney Insider from One to Follow. How are you, mate?
Yeah, good, mate. Yourself?
Yeah, pretty well, thanks. Look, we're here. We're at the trials today. We had a good look at how many heats were there? About 12 or something. 12 heats or so to go through. We'll do a review. Basically, we'll start with the review on Saturday first. What did you think of the day's racing? We're out here at Randwick. It was a heavy 10. It raced pretty well though.
I thought it raced well,
yeah.
But it was just slop. And moving forward, I think the form's going to be a little bit hard to line up.
Yeah.
I think we could do with a few more days like this.
It's a beautiful day.
Beautiful day. And I just think moving forward, you just got to tread real carefully because you just had those lanes out wide that obviously the better parts of the track, and if you were hard fence, you were in that better part of the track, so those horses in the middle will just pretty much forgive runs.
No man's land. Yeah, fair enough. So a couple of horses you wanted to, we'll go through a couple of the races that you thought were worth noting. We'll start with the 2-year-old race. What do you think of the form there? Backstab won it.
Yeah, well, it was held up at Warwick Farm, and a few people said, as you could say, it's a tragedy beaten, a touch unlucky, and he was able to have that race fitness, got the right run on Saturday, and was able to win. I thought Stalwart was quite a good run.
It was.
It was such a big, kind of gross kind of 2-year-old, definitely going to improve from the run, and definitely looked like he wanted the drier track. And I also thought Libido Sun's run was quite good.
Yeah.
Even though he was on the inside, he kind of just really kept finding, and he's still learning the saddle. I thought it was not a bad run moving forward. Yeah,
I think the form, a bit average, but you're going to see those horses win Saturday races because that's what we're dealing with this time of year. Is that how you see it?
Yeah, definitely.
Yep. Moving on. A couple of the good runs from the meeting. Magic Hurricane's one that you've pointed out.
Yeah, definitely. It was, Stevie Wonder saw the run of Magic Hurricane. He was out the back. He was wide where you didn't want to be earlier in the run, and then he was kind of forced to make his run from the 800, got the big squeeze, and continued to find the line. I think and he probably was even a little bit flat second up, so it was quite a really good run moving forward. Hopefully the run hasn't gutted him. That would be the only slight query for me, but definitely looks a nice horse moving forward.
Look, a horse that sort of was on the up last campaign, Marty, and sort of a weird time of year, had a short break and was back at the races. What did you make of her first up?
Well, coming into the race, her trials were satisfactory.
Yep. And
when you saw her in the enclosure, she really was quite fat, which was something you don't see from a lot of gay horses, but she was quite gross. She'll take a lot of benefit from the run, and I could see her, say, maybe not next up, but third up, stepping up in distance. And I get the idea that Gay might set her for 2,000 metres this prep. Okay. She'll roll to the front. She's bred to run 3,200 metres, so I think she'll be looking more for the 2,000 metres. So I think third and fourth up she'll be really a force to reckon with.
Okay, and one more you wanted to point out. Look, he's returned from an injury cloud, and he's returned quite well, I suppose. See the world we're talking about.
Yeah, on the weekend was the first run where you saw him in the enclosure where he was really starting to tight up. He's starting to come well in the coat. And I think everyone was kind of expecting the blinkers on Saturday, and I think Joe's just kept them up his sleeve. And from having a quick chat to Joe, I think 1,400 metres could be his go this time in. He's thinking a little bit older, maybe a little bit more dour. I think he's saving him 1,400 blinkers go on, and I'll be putting the cash on there. Okay,
look, the feature meeting of the day was up at the Gold Coast, the Tats Tiara, and little favourite horse of yours, who's been hard to catch at times, Tracandi. How did you go there? Where's she at?
It was just, she's been a little bit of a marvel of a horse for me. She's just continued to improve. I found her first up, second up, she had a couple of little things not go away, and then Kieran, I wouldn't say he's possibly one of my favourite riders, and was something that scared me a little bit on Saturday, but he's rode at the treat the last two starts. She got over, she dictated, and she won. She just seems to be a horse that keeps improving, and when she gets her own way in front, she just seems really hard to run down.
Yeah, she an amazing effort, I think, to win first up and just continue to have good solid form and then peak again. Kieran Maher, I've heard a couple of good Melbourne judges say he's actually possibly one of the best trainers in Melbourne.
He's a young trainer that I've got a lot of time for, and one thing I look for in some of these smaller trainers are stables. When the money goes on, the horses run accordingly, and he seems to be one of those stables. One thing, like moving forward, we always look at this Queensland Carnival and say the form never seems to measure up in Melbourne. It'll be interesting to see with her, because you could, I'd like to say, it's probably the best, one of the better Tats Tiaras we've seen.
Oh yeah, a horse that's always been consistent, like Catkins, even though it wasn't ridden that well, it's fair to say she wouldn't have beat Shrekhandy.
No, I don't.
So Catkins is a great benchmark to work with, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
Another horse you wanted to have a chat about was Lamosti.
Yeah, look, her run was good, a little bit unlucky once again, and being one of those get-back run-on horses, you're going to have those issues with backing horses like herself. I think we all came under that opinion when she was a young horse, because she was being set for an Oaks and all those kind of longer races.
Yep.
And she was being able to run well due to just having the ability. I think she really is just a dead set run-on sprinter.
Okay.
So I think they might freshen her up, bring her back in the spring, and the races you do want to find her are those 1200 metre pace on, first up, second up. Okay. I think that's where she's a lot better suited. Okay,
and just one quick horse you wanted to point out from Moonee Valley was Mahawib.
Yes.
From those colours that you just fall in love for, the yellow with the blue V.
Yeah.
Hawks,
to look at, he's a very, very exceptional type. He's strong, muscular, quite robust. He obviously looks.
I know you were keen on him when you first saw him at the trials in Sydney, I think.
Yes, well, he's definitely very appealing and pleasant to the eye, and he's that real big, strong, robust colt. He obviously takes a little bit of time to get fit, and he does look a little bit lazy, and I think those blinkers certainly switched him on Saturday. The strength of that race, there could be questions, and he obviously was suited by the way the day ran, but I think he does look a progressive type, and he could be a horse that could really step up possibly during the spring.
Okay, well look, before we have a little bit of a rundown on the trials, we'll just do the week ahead. We're at Newcastle today, with Canterbury tomorrow. Have you looked at the fields there yet?
I've had a quick look. One thing I'm trying to do this time of year is not get too heavily involved looking at them early, for the simple fact that you look at a race, you see horses suited in that race, and then we're copying certain scratchings in the morning and late afternoon, and it just changes the whole dynamic of the race. And one thing as a punter, and especially with early markets, if you invest yourself too heavily early, you can get in that wrong mind frame, and it can be quite hard to get yourself out of.
Very good point. And look, there's one horse that you wanted to point out for Saturday off the early nominations. It's another Gay Waterhouse runner, is it?
Yes, Cafe Society, I believe its name is. I believe it ran third to contributor when it was obviously overseas. It's come back, it's trialled quite well. It does look to have above average ability, and I think 1500 first up. One thing we're seeing with a few of these European horses, when they do come here, they are taught to sprint. And knowing Gay, I think she will have it quite wound up, fresh, and
I have seen it at the trials a few times.
Yeah, and if it does have the sort of ability, and there's little whispers that they're definitely looking at the Group 1s, if it can live up that contributor form, it should just be winning Saturday, but obviously price relevant of what they go up to.
Yeah, alright, well if you're clicking a refresh at about 3 PM on Wednesday or waiting for those first markets, you might get a little something extra than what you'll get Saturday, but we'll see.
I'm tipping it could be a horse that will be well found, but just that contributor.
Yeah, rings alarm bells. Alright, well let's do a little review of today's barrier trials. Look, it's raced on a heavy, I think they said.
Yeah, raced on the heavy, and
you want to get down the outside.
You want to get down the outside. I think this trial track, it's almost as worse. Like, the advantage of that outside rail is bigger than any of the actual race tracks here. The horses on the inside are obviously quite disadvantaged, and you can just sit wide and work home well. In saying that, they come up with 4 horses that really caught the eye. First one was Commanding Wit. She worked home well. She looks to return in really good order and just worked home up the inside under a really nice hold. She hasn't really been a horse of mine, but I do think she's a better run, seemed to be first, second, third up. Good pace, sit behind 1100, work home.
Yep.
She's won. Another one in Heat 4, 2-year-old, yet to be seen at the races, called Moran. Snowden filly in my favourite yellow with the blue
colours,
V.
yep.
She's looks a really nice, strong type. I believe she's a street cry filly. Like the way she just was able to sit wide and just go under a real professional type of filly, and you seem to see that this time of year from the Snowdens. They're really well educated, ready for race day, which I think really is an important thing in 2-year-olds.
Well, yeah, and I think on that point, there's a lot of, I think we've all seen the 2-year-old form, all these 2-year-olds that are coming back, they're not stacking up really. So horses like, you know, these ones now, the horse that Harlem River and those sort of horses, Flippant, they're all their new names, but they might be our best 2-year-olds and 3-year-olds moving forward.
Well, we did see that last year, like a lot of and with the earthquakes and the moss funds, they really didn't come back on, and it was later. Although I do think those 2 horses in Vancouver and Pride of Dubai really
they look progressive types.
But I think a lot of those horses behind them might struggle, and I think we are starting to see a couple of nicer soon to be 3-year-olds.
So keep your eyes on the 2-year-olds. And Heat 6, mate, what did you see there?
Yeah, the nice little 2-year-old in Inner Circle. He showed a little bit on debut. He won impressively at Rose Hill, and then he was a little bit disappointing here at Randwick. He was still doing things wrong. He's a real well-bred colt. He's a relation to half to Guelph, and it's been a horse that showed a lot at the trials, and the stable seemed to have a bit of a rap on, but he was just not ready. He looks still, even now I still think he might be 6 months away, but today he trialled. He looked to settle a lot better earlier. He was able to come home, and he just worked home nicely under a hold. Not 100% sure he really enjoyed the conditions, but he really looks a nice, stronger, nice horse moving forward, and I do think he will be one of the better 3-year-olds coming out of that.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. And one more, mate, Fleurier, is it?
Yeah, Fleurier. She had one start for the Sam Kavanagh stable.
Yep.
Very, you could say, interesting ride by the C. Williams. Went back, found a few bums, and just worked home nicely, and kind of ran according to Betfair late that day. But has been moved over to the Gay Waterhouse stable. She trialled beautiful, went straight to the front today under a hold. In saying that, it was slow time for the day, but she just, the way that she did it was just nice. She really had a beautiful action. Look to do it under a hold, and like one thing with the times and things that I look at, it's relevant, but
if you go slow, you want to make sure you finish off fast.
Well, she finished off fast, and she did it, and some of those horses, they're only going to trial as fast as the horses around them, and nothing really forced her to go, and she just went under a hold. I think she could go a lot quicker, and I think she would have trialled nice in relevance to all the other horses. So I do think she'll be one moving forward, and the fact that she's trialled in slow time hopefully can give us a slightly better price.
Exactly right. It always comes back to the price.
That's it.
Mate, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks, matey.
If you guys want any more, if you want Aaron's sort of sets for the day, you do the Sydney Insider you look after?
Yeah, Sydney Insider and the 2 Sydney tips with the Super 6.
Yeah, and how often are you tipping there? Is it Wednesdays and Saturdays?
Yeah, Wednesdays and Saturdays, and I think moving forward possibly moving into the carnival, something between you and I might look at doing more of a fuller set for the Wednesdays, but at the moment we're just full set Saturdays and a couple of tips on the Wednesday, and doing a bit of stuff on the Thursdays with the provincials as well occasionally.
Sounds good. You can grab all that stuff at onetofollow.com.au. Alright, cheers Aaron.
Thanks matey, see you later.